Well, good afternoon, everyone. David Paul speaking. It's exactly 3:30 here in the UK on Friday, the 19th of February. So we're into the American market, into the American day, 1 hour. Quite a different day from yesterday, as you can see, with the advances leading the declines, 3-1. The primary wave, or the short-term trend of the US market, has turned back up. We're still early in the day, it can change, and we're back to an up situation. So all the measures of the trend on VectorVest are up at the moment. So with any luck, that rout in the market is over. Although it's still a bit early to say so yet, but that's the VectorVest composite, and I'm sure you've seen on your Twitter feeds, etc., that we're exactly a year since the top in February 2020. What a year. Those are the confirmed calls, and the confirmed calls still in place. The medium-term market timing system, the DEW, is still in place, and it's given some exceptionally good signals here. If I, in fact, put up our momentum tools, which is found in the this is our buy-sell ratio on VectorVest, and the buy-sell ratio positive in that there's no divergence as yet. The price made a new high, the indicator made a new high, and that normally means that there's more upside. So quite a strong situation in the American market, and I think we can start and push much higher. If we zoom this up into a 3-month look, I think that yesterday's low is very important in this chart, and as long as we can stay well below yesterday's low, well above yesterday's low, then I think we'll push much higher here. So just watch, that would be Thursday's low point. The market breaking down through Thursday's low point, that would worry me. It really would worry me. So for now, things looking much better. So I'm looking at, I haven't bought Grow Generation, and I'm looking at PLTR for an entry. I'm still holding the rest of these, and some of them have done well, some of them are underwater. PLTR is an interesting stock, well up today. I was looking at it for an entry a couple of days ago, in fact, but it didn't confirm. I wanted to see, if you remember, a close above that 31 level. But what it's done today is that it's come back, and it's come back to a trend line. You see that? To that level. And yesterday it charted a doji candle, and there was huge volume in that doji candle. And this morning it gapped up. Now, in old parlance, that's what's called an island reversal, a very strong reversal indeed. I still haven't bought into it. Maybe the more aggressive people will have bought into it, but I would still like to see a good close today, and I'll be tempted to buy into it on Monday. If we put on the stochastic, we can see the stochastic is right down in the buy area, and it's also showing a really good divergence pattern, my famous reverse divergence pattern. Not as marked as maybe I would like, but nevertheless it is a divergence pattern. It's crossed. If we close like this, it's crossed below the 20 level, and certainly if we see this breaking up through this 30 level, then I think this thing will explode on the upside. Looks very good to me. I like the results. So that's a possible setup for next week. So I'm going to leave that till next week. Growth Generation, I watched it the other day, and I was going to get in. I didn't, and maybe I was wrong there, but getting too old and too conservative maybe. It pulled back to this level, just here, and I probably should have bought it there, but I felt maybe it would come back again, so I missed that. However, this share looks very strong to me. As you can see, it pulled back to that level beautifully in the past. It pulled back to that level beautifully in the past. It's pulled back and as it goes sideways in this range, it's on falling volume, and that's pretty good. The stochastic came to the party here. Wasn't that a beautiful reverse divergence trade just here? So growth generation, looking for an entry. I would be tempted to buy a breakout of that high with a stop loss underneath this low. So those are two possible setups. I'm still long of Zoom. I'm still long of DraftKings. I'm long of Peloton, and it's going a little bit better. And I'm long of Neo. That position's still underwater, although looking an awful lot better today. So that's Neo, and we look at this, we can see it's hardly rocket science, but it works. The market's pulled back, and it's pulled back, took those levels out again. With any luck, this is going to spring. Those of you that are classical technical analysts will see in this sideways pattern, we've got wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Most continuation patterns are 5 waves. So I'm getting into this, and I've been in since here, but I'm getting in. And very little risk, lots and lots of potential rewards. So let's just hope for a fair breeze in this. So reasonably happy with this. And if we have a look finally at the S&P, the S&P holding its own today. Get rid of the stochastic and blow it up to 3 months. And there's where we are. We had that sell-off back down to close to these old highs, and as I say, that low, I believe, on Thursday, yesterday's low, incredibly important. If we were to see the market break down through that low, which is 3885, I would get very, very worried indeed, folks. But it looks to me as this is bound now for a push on 4,000 on the S&P, and yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. So on VectorVest, the short-term trend is turned back to up. I'm very happy with the positions that I've got, and I would be certainly interested on Monday looking for an entry in growth generation, looking for an entry in PLTR. Okay, so let's now look at the UK market. And the UK market, in fact, at the end of day yesterday, the short-term trend turned to down, and that's exactly what happened in the US. The underlying trend is still up, and everything is up in the UK. If I go to our market timing graph and pull that up, and I just get rid of all the stuff here, that's the short-term trend turned to down. Confirmed calls still in place. And that's the confirmed call up since the 11th of the 11th. And I think I should point out that the most conservative form of trading on VectorVest, called worry-free investing, is up. The top 15 shares chosen by the Unisearch is up 17% since the 11th of November. And the same shares were in it the whole time, no trading whatsoever. This now it's pulled back into this range, and with any luck, I see the FTSE's up about 20 points today. With any luck, those are going to hold. Just remember the old adage that I keep beating away at the VectorVest user groups and Monday afternoon meetings. When it's time to buy, you won't want to, and when it's time to sell, you won't want to. Sooner or later there'll be a confirmed down, and unfortunately in the UK, if we put on the longer term measures, and we can see that our buy-sell ratio is showing very marked divergence here. Let's get rid of some of it. MTI showing a bearish divergence, prices rising, and in particular the buy-sell ratio showing a divergence. Many people say that this was abnormal because of the reaction to the absence of the Brexit indecision, and maybe it was, but nevertheless, just looking at the numbers, this price is rising, but the participation in the market, the participation in the run-up is falling, and just from a pure numbers point of view, that worries me. So I think we need, just remember, when it's time to buy, like last March and April, we didn't want to, and when it's time to sell, we also won't want to. and those are emotional things that we've got to try and get our mind around if we want to be successful investors. Not too bad investing, much more difficult if you're a short-term trader, because this happens all the time, very frequently anyway. So just keep your eye on this market. Our portfolio took a bit of a beating yesterday, but not the end of the world. I'm particularly pleased with this little spec of mine, Treble D. Although I can't begin to understand why it's such an important company in terms of the technology. I'm completely out of my depth with gut bacteria, which I believe it helps with. So we have this huge run up, and then the pull back to here, and that double bottom, or what I call a spring. I then pushed up. Now if we have a look at this over the last 3 months, we can see huge accumulation of shares here, and a big day, and then big days here, and then yesterday we had a big day as well. So this little share, I believe, has got a great future. Neil Woodford, God bless him, he's been in the news in the last week. He bought that at £10, and I bought a few just here at about 120. It is a spec, folks, it is a spec, but my word, the price and the volume and the story are really good. Okay, Treble D pharmaceutical. So that comes with a health warning, as you know. This Italia Mining, a copper play, is written on the back of the copper price. We need to be careful here. I'm in really good money in that, but the copper price to me looks as if it's going a little bit too far, and everybody is talking about super cycles at the moment. So the trades could be getting a tad crowded. Platinum market looks exceptionally good, and I'm very pleased with the rest of these, especially Bellway, because it seems to have shrugged off that cladding issue that we've had. So a really bad day. Some of our shares, in fact, get hammered quite strongly, but the really bad ones are at the bottom, and I'm sweating out in gold shares. I've said to my friend here who's sitting beside me that if she ever hears me talking about a gold share again, she should pick up something heavy and smack me with it, because they are difficult. And I say at all the meetings, folks, that if you want a quiet life, leave gold and commodity shares well alone. So let's look at the gold price itself. Now, I made a call on gold. Now, my calls are more for fun than anything else, but I felt that gold would turn on Thursday. That was yesterday, and I talked about that last week. As you can see, this market has come back. It's come back in what technicians would refer to as a falling wedge, and my model, and Lord only knows it's not too sophisticated, but it works. It's just a simple 8-day stochastic and a 40-day stochastic, and I teach the system in the precision swing trading course that I do with VectorVest, with Jerry and the guys at VectorVest. And when both the 8 and the 40 are oversold, that's a really good place to be looking to be a buyer. And when the 8 and the 40 are both overbought, that's a good place to be looking to be a seller. And you can see that it lines up reasonably well. There was the last place where they were all together was just here, and they're all together again. Now then we need to look for a signal, and we've got a very good place here because we've got this double bottom, we've got that falling wedge, and I felt that that was a good place. Now what's going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen, is that this level is going to hold, or this is going to fall apart, one or the other. So for those gold shares that I've got, it's sudden death below these levels. Okay, I'm hoping that that level is going to hold, and that's why I'm holding Polymetal. I'm still holding Pan-African Resources. The Pan-African Resources results came out last week. At this level, they still are making a heap of money. I mean, a lot of money. They've doubled their profits in the last year, and they're awash with cash. Polymetal's the same. Nevertheless, if the gold price slips from here, there's an awful lot of air. Let's have a look at the air. And there's an awful lot of air to the next support level, which should be at 1672. I think that we will get at least a bounce here. but I'm hopeful that this corrective pattern, at least I'm reading it as a corrective pattern in the gold market, is over, and that from here we're going to get a nice push. A push up to that high would be back up to 1950. That would really put a fire under these gold shares. So let's see if this level can hold, but I reiterate that this market's breaking down below these lows will be sudden death, and we need to be very careful down here. All right, so those two shares for me, Polymetal and Pan African Resources, are under very careful scrutiny during the course of next week. Let's see if this level can hold. If you want to make money slowly and easily and robustly, then you don't really need to do much more than follow the VectorVest worry-free plan, which focuses on shares with incredibly safe track records that are rising in price. Let's go back. I'm reasonably happy with the UK market. The only thing I'm worried about is the overall market itself. Anniversaries tend to prey on people's mind, and that 1 year since the sell-off last year. If we do get a DEW down, which would be the medium-term sell signal on VectorVest in the UK, and certainly a confirmed down in the UK, then I think it's time to take a great deal of profits, and there's an awful lot of profits sitting on the table in these shares. Many of them were bought way back. Games Workshop, Lion Trust, JD Sports, Halma, Pershing Square, Tristel, all bought way back last April. An awful lot of money sitting on the table there. Okay, when it's time to sell, you won't want to. Just remember that. I don't mean to be dogmatic, but I just want to try and get it through. If we go back to the American market now and we look at the front page, we can see that these advances against the decline still in great shape. All the parameters that measure the trend on VectorVest from the shortest term to the longest term are up, and the Dow has recorded a surplus of 100 points, and the S&P up 10 points. I reiterate that if you see the S&P falling down around that 3885, 3880 level, just get a little worried, because we could quite easily see a strong pullback to support from there, and that would be a couple of hundred S&P points lower. Not the end of the world, but it'll take the market down with it. So reasonable start to the day. Let's hope it can keep up. I see that PLTR is now up 15% on the day. That's a really strong island reversal. That's an old chartist tool. It's been around for 100 years, and one of the most highly probable reversals, in my humble opinion, is still the island reversal. It's really not that well known these days. So Palantir, I think, will certainly be something to look for a really good entry on Monday, and the more aggressive of you will have already bought it, but I always wait for at least 1 day's confirmation, and then look for a level to enter. So folks, I hope this has helped. I'm hoping, as I say, that the gold market is going to find some form of bottom, even a temporary bottom here, but it's sudden death for those shares, certainly for me, if that level doesn't hold. And of course, if it does hold, we get a couple of days here, then I shall be adding to those gold positions once this consolidation is over. In my humble opinion, we're heading probably up to about 2,400 in the gold price, and that's going to be quite something, and that's why I get so excited about gold, because when it moves, it's the most wonderful feeling in the world. Have a great weekend, folks. Again, the VectorVest Q&As on Monday afternoon, 1:30, and it'll be great to see all the VectorVest customers. If you're not a VectorVest customer, go to vectorvestco.uk. You can take a 30-day trial. It's a $5, not going to kill you. And if that $5 causes you too much angst, email me and I'll give you a free pass to the webcast if you would like to come along. david.paul@vectorvest.com. Take care. Bye-bye.